Welcome to this episode of Clout is Not Currency, hosted by me, Blessing Makosha. On this podcast, we have conversations about value, worth, and influence. And if you enjoy this episode and you want to see more episodes from us, then make sure that you check out No Ghostwriter, where you get full video episodes, and on our Patreon, where we have an extended cut. And of course, you can listen to this podcast on any streaming services of your choice. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about NFTs or non-fungible tokens. And we're going to talk about Nicki Minaj and her recent promotion of an NFT sale, and also a general question about whether she should be getting into selling NFTs with other artists who have also been selling NFTs. And that falls into the topic of monetization and fans. So how do fans actually power their artists? How can artists monetize their fans? How can fans be more active and engaged stakeholders in their artists' careers in music? So I hope you're looking forward to discussing that with us today. So introducing our guests today, I've got 3 guests in studio. One of them is off camera, and I'm just gonna let them introduce themselves. So to my left, I've got Nicole Taylor, and if I'm right, you're at Simply Nicole. .x?
Yeah.
I got it all right. Look at that. Straight off the dome. So Nicole, can you please introduce yourself? Tell us about you.
So I'm Nicole. I'm a bar student and a business owner. I'm the co-founder of a business called Be at the Bar, which is providing educational, motivational, inspirational resources for all those that are striving for success at the bar, and
beyond.
Yeah.
And beyond. Thank you for introducing yourself. And to my right, I've got Advocati, Mr. Big Dre himself. Can you please introduce yourself to the people?
Yeah, so I'm Advocati, also known as Andre Carti. I've done previous podcasts with Big Money B, Blessing, which you can check out on her Instagram as well, which you already know what it is.
Do they?
Yeah, they already know. They gotta know it if they're already here. So if you need to find any more information about me, just go to my Instagram. It's all there. On my Twitter.
And what do you do?
You'll see when I do. Basically.
Oh, okay. That's how people from South London speak.
From South. Yeah. So there's lots that I do. That's why it's easier just to go there. So my main areas are business, law, and
A businessman.
I'm a businessman.
And we're joined by a third and final businesswoman and special guest, Ms. Molly Etty, aka @PopDeMolly_X. And so could you please introduce yourself? Tell us. I'm looking at her beautiful face. You just can't see it, but she's here.
Hi, my name is Molly. I'm a fashion brand owner. I own the brand and founded the brand.
You own and founded. I think you own it because you own the proprietary. Like value. Look at 2 barristers with you. Look at that. You own it, and then you're the founder because you founded the momentum of the brand. So you could still own it. There could be another CEO, but you'll always be the first one that kicked it off.
I see.
So you're both.
Period.
CEO
of a brand called Illicit Bait. We provide fashion-forward pieces for the multifaceted muse. And I myself am just a fashion girl. Like, I love fashion.
Outfit's cute.
Thank you, girl.
She's giving me like Sierra goodies. You may look at me and think that I'm just a young girl, but I'm not.
You're
Seriously.
killing me. I'm also a biologist, if we're academics, and I do a little bit of styling too.
I love that. So thank you very much for joining us. And I really like the mix we've got today, because I feel like everyone in studio has got, business experience and insight that's going to be great for this conversation. But before we get into the episode, I want to say a thank you to our sponsor for this episode, Selfshark VPN. So it's not news to say that we're all pretty much entirely reliant upon the internet for our daily lives. So from streaming our favorite shows to keeping in touch with our loved ones and even our banking, we're living most of our lives pretty much on the internet. And so as our online footprint increases, so does our need for proper security. During the pandemic, there's been a higher incident of cybercrime than ever before, and more of us are experiencing problems with fraud attempts or actual fraud on our bank accounts. So what Surfshark VPN is a service that protects your information. It encrypts all of the data that you send through the internet and keeps anyone unwanted from seeing it. And another great reason to use a VPN is because you can get some little content from other parts of the world, on your streaming services. Because obviously, as you know, there's geographical restrictions on content. Now, just because I'm a lawyer, I'm gonna say I do not endorse or support any out and out, use of anything, but I'm just letting you know that were you to want to view content that's only accessible in another country, and were you to use Surfshark VPN, you could do that. Whether or not you choose to do that is completely up to you. But of course, Surfshark's got far more uses than just that. And it's a great tool for people who want to communicate and may live in countries that heavily censor and monitor their citizens. So right now, there's a really excellent deal. How can I say both those at the same time? Because it is actually a pretty sick deal. So when you use the link in our description for this podcast or my code BlessingMakosha, you get 83% off. And not that, you also get 3 months free with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So for a couple quid a month, you can be fully protected on the internet, get 3 months for free, and if it's not working for you, you get your money back. So try it. If you don't like it, cancel it. But if you do like it, let me know how it worked out for you. I've been using Surfshark myself for well over a year now. It's running on every single one of my devices, and I really recommend that you check it out. So thank you, Surfshark VPN, and let's get back into the episode. So the first topic I want to talk about is NFTs. So I was learning more and more about NFTs, and I'll give a quick introduction to it for you guys listening and everyone with me today. So NFT, or non-fungible tokens, and this is taken from The Verge, so thank you for The Verge for this article. They explain that non-fungible essentially means that it's unique and it can't be replaced with something else. So a Bitcoin, for example, is fungible because you can trade one Bitcoin for another Bitcoin and you'll still have a Bitcoin. A one-of-a-kind trading card, though, so if any of you guys, you remember Chop Trumps, like when we be on the playground swapping cards. So those are non-fungible because you've just got a one-of-a-kind card. If you swap it for another card, you've got a card, it's just not the same card. At the highest level, most NFTs are part of what's called the Ethereum blockchain. And Ethereum is a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin or Dogecoin, but its blockchain also supports these particular NFTs, and they store extra information that makes them work differently from a standard Ethereum Bitcoin. I have no idea what I'm talking about, I hope this is making sense. It kind of makes sense to me, so I hope it makes sense to you guys. But other blockchains can implement their own versions of NFTs, and some already have. So in terms of what you can make out of an NFT, pretty much anything digital. So drawings, music, your brain downloaded and turned into an AI, as Verge has helpfully said. But generally, the excitement is around using this technology to sell digital art. And that's what really inspired me with this conversation, and why I want to talk about how it can benefit artists, and particular artists like Nicki Minaj, who are very well known for extremely unique, one-of-a-kind performances that are replicated by the girls. So there's a clear benefit for artists in selling NFTs because they can sell their work in a pretty unique way that otherwise there wouldn't be a market for. So you come up with a digital sticker and you can sell it to someone. And then for buyers, of course, what's the benefit of buying art in any case? It lets you financially support people you like, and it also allows you to develop, build up your portfolio, own different things with different amounts of value. And then you get basic usage rights as well when you own the NFTs. So with all of that said, Nicki Minaj recently posted a promotion on her social media to buy Happy Hippo NFTs, and the proceeds of that, some of them went to saving and protecting hippos, which I believe are an endangered species. So this showed us both that Nicki Minaj is one of the latest artists to embrace NFTs, but she hasn't quite done so yet for her music, and I thought maybe she should. So I wanted to talk about this with you guys here today. And so my thought is, rather than the value of, let's say, a verse Nicki's written going to the labels, since Nicki's fans, the Barbz, are so valuable, why not allow her fans to have their own stake in the verse that they own? And then labels don't own the verse, but they own the rights to distribute and promote the verse. So like, for example, they have a stake in the NFT, which is Nicki's verse, right? And what happens then with that is that the emphasis will be on the label to promote this investment that they pay for, rather than relying on Nicki and her fans providing all the momentum for the song, as well as Nicki providing that unique je ne sais quoi that makes the song. And it can demotivate fans sometimes when they don't feel like the other artist is supporting. So that's just an idea I had. What do you guys think? Crazy as hell? Or do you think it could work?
I think it could work. However, the issue I see with that is, who are the fans that are going to be able to buy these NFTs? I think at the moment we have hip hop not just as a culture, but it's an industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that with these NFTs, although like cryptocurrencies, etc., are not supposed to be regulated, this is not something that's going to be regulated. And I think that you are going to get a kind of class of people that are going to be able to,
like the wealthier fans,
exactly, to buy a stake or to buy a piece of this art, and it's still going to kind of leave the masses without having a piece of this art.
But they're not necessarily denied from accessing the art. It's just that the ownership of the art is with the fan. So like an artist has hopped on your song, right?
Mm-hmm.
Currently, the artist writes the verse, they're accredited artist on your song, but you own all of that. So if you don't promote that song, for example, which is what happened, there was a ginormous disaster, if you guys didn't know, back in, I believe it was summer 2020, and Nicki Minaj released a feature verse with A$AP Ferg called Move Your Hips. A$AP had this verse for God knows how long, like he'd had this verse in the vault, didn't release it. He kept teasing it, using Nicki's verse alone, kept teasing little samples of Nicki's verse, like on socials, like posting a little snippet here and there. And then by the time it came time to release the song, there was no more hype, because Ferg had used the fact that Nicki's on the song, basically damn near leaked half her verse. And then the Barbz, it was basically all on the Barbz to like push this song. They spent so much money, I think, buying digital copies of the song, doing what fans do when they want to put, like they want to show that they value their artist. And then I think Ferg's label didn't submit it to Billboard or something. So they just bought all of that song, all of those copies, spent thousands and thousands and thousands for nothing, because the fans bought it because they want to see Nicki do well. So I'm thinking, because what's she gonna, if the other artist isn't gonna now, or at least have their own fan base, or at least have ginormous momentum, like with Doja Cat, she's got a good machine. So when Nicki hopped on Say So, it just built and built and built. So that's what I'm saying is the benefit of perhaps these NFTs. If an artist like Nicki Minaj can say to her fans, we own this music. then maybe, I don't know, it brings people closer together a bit more.
Maybe.
I don't know. What do you gotta think?
I think I'm gonna piggyback on Nicole's point.
No, we
I
can
think
get that
It
one.
is going to lead to a form of gentrification of hip hop as a culture.
Kind of like with street fashion, right? Like hype beasts and stuff.
Exactly, yeah. Because it is going to be accessible to only one type of fan or a select few types of fans, and there's going to be an entire kind of demographic of fans that aren't able to access the music in the same way, and it's going to be quite frustrating for those people as fans as well.
That's true.
Do you think why do you think it's going to be difficult for certain types of fans to access it versus other types of fans? Which fans are going to be able to access it?
Because the more wealthy fans are going to be able to obviously purchase the NFTs or the stake in the verse, as Blessing said. And so if someone else who isn't as wealthy is a fan, they're not going to feel as connected to the music in the same way. It's going to create...
It's going to come down, kind of like the accessibility to luxury.
Who sets the price?
The artist, I guess, in this context.
So then it's the artist that decides. For example, when you got Tory Lanez, he said it's affordable for everybody. So I think he was selling them for like...
I think it was $10. I'm just pulling it up just to check.
10. It was really cheap. It wasn't expensive. And then he had made $1 million because he sold it directly to all of his fans, and everybody could have afforded it.
So the NFTs in the pre-sale period were $10. This one particular NFT artist purchased 10 copies, which I think kind of goes to what you two were talking about, because if the NFT is 10 copies, $10, someone buys 10 copies, because you had $100 where maybe one fan had 10, you've now 9 other fans can't own it because you've got it. And that's part of what is capitalism, right? That's part of what makes it valuable, is the scarcity. And then...
But everybody has the opportunity at the beginning to buy at least one, and one is enough. Because when he was selling NFTs, there was only a small amount of them, right? And then if you resell them, the value of it goes up straight away, because you can lease it, you can resell it, you can trade it. If somebody wants to trade 3 NFTs for one, you can do that.
I feel like you're speaking from a place of privilege, because yes, $10 is quite affordable, but really and truly it takes away from what music essentially is, which is supposed to be accessible to all. Like, I understand $10 is affordable for the majority of us in the Western world right now, but not everyone can afford that $10. Does that mean that they shouldn't be able to have access to their favorite artist in the same way another fan can?
No.
Yeah.
That's not what we're saying, that they can't have access. It's access to the NFT. Like, you've got to pay for you have to pay for something. It's like some of them you're gonna pay to support your favorite artist. So the Barbz are gonna pay to support Nicki no matter what. You're gonna find, wherever there's a will, there's a way. You're gonna find it, and it's some may show their support in one way, some may show their support in a different way. You might be voting with like the VMAs or something like that, which is free to do, and you're supporting your artist that way. The NFT is another way to support your artist, but no one.
I feel like it creates a little hierarchy, is the point I was making.
Because some fans will have access to, let's say, if Nicki puts out a verse and it's $100 for the NFT, not all her fans are going to have $100. Just like off the bat.
But
now that's already created the verse.
But I was going to say, on the flip side of what I did say, is that at the moment, as fans, we don't own anything.
That's what I'm saying. We're currently in a position of owning nothing.
So this will give, even though there will be a kind of hierarchy, or there are going to be fans that are able to afford more, etc., at the moment, as fans, you don't have the chance to own anything, right? But with the NFTs, it does give a certain percentage that kind of privilege, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with that.
Right, so what's recently happened is that after the Barbz started trending for criticizing female rappers who had previously publicly stated themselves to be Barbz for collaborating on an all-female hip-hop soundtrack that was executive produced by Halle Berry and Cardi B, it was basically very much decided that y'all are embarrassing yourselves because even though you're trying to hold up a certain standard of integrity, and I understand that, you're doing that with Nicki Minaj's face on your profile and you're making it seem like that's what Nicki Minaj wants to do, or that Nicki Minaj is telling you to do something. And I've always found it quite frustrating how people have, said, oh, Nicki Minaj uses her fans against people. I'm here to tell you that there are millions of people who, you can call them unhinged if you want, but out of their own volition and choice are choosing to go on the internet and be soldiers for Nicki Minaj, even when she hasn't asked for it. And this particular type of activity has actually been something that Nicki has explicitly spoken out and said to her fans, please stop doing this. Stop, attacking people I'm friends with because you think that they're disrespecting me. There's a whole different conversation on that that we could go into. But my question is for you guys, if fans want to represent themselves using Nicki's face or Taylor Swift or Ariana Grande or anyone else, then why not she sell them NFT avatars and get some value out of it? Because at the end of the day, she can also add conditions to the NFT license. So for example, she can say, if you're using my face, you need to, you are not, you're prevented from speaking in this way or doing this certain thing or doing that kind of thing, and follow other rules that protect her brand within her rights as an NFT owner. So what do you think?
It's not, I think with her, if she was to get an NFT as what would look like her,
Mm-hmm.
she couldn't let everybody use it. It'd be one thing. So one digital token, it'd be one piece of art.
Yeah, but she just gets hundreds or thousands of different little drawings.
Yeah,
of her.
But they have to be different variations.
Yeah, so you can do Nicki. You can do Nicki with a pink wig, Nicki with a green wig, Nicki with a yellow wig.
Yeah, things like that. So then, that would work.
I think that would go dumb. I think if Nicki actually sold her images, or her likeness, because I don't think you guys know, the Barbz, there are so many graphic designer Barbz, and they're constantly drawing these amazing, beautiful designs of her, and she's using them for cover art and stuff. But I'm girl, sell them.
I think what would be good as well is if those designers, those graphic designers, were able to profit off of that as well, because it's then a source of income for multiple people.
They could do it. They could create a Nicki NFT, but she'd have to. She would it could be a Nicki NFT, but unless she endorsed it, it might not
have the value.
Yeah, maybe not.
I disagree. I know what you're saying. It's true. No, you may not be raising an important point, but I'm literally telling you that it's the word Nicki Minaj that has the value. So Barbz that create Nicki's art, I have paid a Barb, multiple times. I've commissioned him for art because of how he's drawn Nicki.
Yeah.
So I'm here giving him value.
Yeah. So it could work then, maybe with the token, because I think the same way they've got these apes and then you've got Lil Baby's got one, Jay-Z's got one.
Those are creeping me out. Those are really what do you guys think about? I don't know what they're called, but basically they've got these chimps that are rappers now, and I think they're releasing an album and stuff.
I think so, something like that. They're doing something definitely with either Travis Scott or.
Oh, I don't know they're going to still be doing that.
Cancelled. That we are not touching that topic in this podcast, but rest in peace to all of the people that died, and just get well soon to everybody that was injured, because that is a mess. I don't even have anything to say on this, just a whole ass mess. How'd that make you feel as a lawyer? Because I was screaming tort in my head. It was just too much. It was too much. I like this idea of the Nicki Avi NFT. I think it could work out quite well.
Especially the fact that she's able to put conditions on it as well.
I think because the thing is conditions. Because honestly, and I presented a video on No Ghostwriter about the Barbz and how the fan base is switching up and changing, and I think that this would offer the opportunity for Barbz to actually, fans to actually be productive for their faves. Because I know right now a lot of stans think they're being helpful when they're, going out and taking up for their fave and attacking people, not always quite. You could actually be causing a lot of behind the scenes issues for your fave because you are publicly attacking people within their picture. Even if someone knows Nicole didn't say this to me, I'm still gonna feel some kind of way when I hang out with you
100.
if like 20,000 people with your face have been calling me a dumb bitch for like however long, or telling me I'm a flop, or telling me I'm a this. But if all those 20,000 people had paid you to be able to do that and had rules that they followed, at least...
And know that there's implications if they don't follow those rules.
Yeah, that you lose the ability to do that. Because I feel like without any ramifications, there's absolutely nothing to get Barbz to stop. And not just Barbz, I'm talking about like any fans, but like there's nothing that makes them stop unless they get unfollowed. The only thing that ever stops them is when the artist unfollows or blocks them. Then they do a whole post being like, oh my God, I can't believe Nicki unfollowed me after I called her a fat horse. It's like, yeah, she did. And you had a picture on it as well, which was even more jarring. But yeah, I like that. Okay, so I want to talk about our last topic for the episode. And this is similarly related to what we've been talking about. So Tidal has announced a new streaming model, which is a means to empower fans and empower artists. So this article is taken from Music Business Worldwide. So they say Tidal is announcing some new initiatives that it hopes could provide artists with some additional revenue from the fractions of scraps they normally receive from music streaming services. So beginning today, so right now, Tidal has launched monthly direct-to-artist payments. So this is a very innovative payout scheme, and it's going to give artists access to an additional payment stream that comes directly from their biggest fans on Tidal. So each month, a percentage of fans on the Hi-Fi Plus subscription will be directed towards their top streamed artists, which they see in their activity feed. And that direct-to-artist payment is in addition to standard streaming royalties. And those royalties that those Hi-Fi Plus subscribers don't get aggregated, but they're paid based on the actual streaming activity of that individual subscriber, as opposed to the industry method of aggregating streams. So this means that fans play a larger role in the success of their favorite artists. Some people might say that the music industry is catching up with some of the magic that was felt when one particular bitch made $1 million off a mixtape, sold that out of the back of her BMW, built up an international fan base from people directly buying her music, and maybe the age of the artist that is reliant upon general interest streaming. So generally they get money when their songs are streamed, but if someone streams their song once, like they're still going to collect their whatever percentage. But with this model, if no one subscribed on the platform streams your music out of choice and over again, your royalties are going to be less than beyond the standard streaming payout. So this seems quite promising. Seems like it might shake things up. I think that it kind of, with everything we've talked about just basically just giving fans something productive to do, like and productive way to add value to their artists. I think this is going to be really good. What do you guys think about this and this kind of like switch up from Tidal?
So from the kind of reading that I've done, this is only for a certain kind of member, right? Don't you think that in itself is a problem?
Does it go back to what we talked about earlier then, that privilege of access?
No, it's not.
You are such a capitalist. You are never going to say no.
No, because it doesn't make sense. It's like if I want to support my artist and I decide I want to sell my house and all my clothes and walk naked, I can do that, but by paying a little bit more money. Then let me do that.
Seriously?
Yes, I'm a diehard Wayne fan.
Barbz are gonna do it. Those Wayne heads are gonna do it. Barbz are gonna do it.
Like, come on. Like,
So you're gonna walk on the street naked to make Nicki Minaj rich?
Me personally, probably.
Maybe not
I would
Nicki.
do it for my good sister.
Maybe
Whatever
not.
Nicki needs. She said she got a milli bitches on go, including this bitch.
Yeah, so it's like that's what it's like. I think the package with Tidal, everybody really should go with Tidal, because if you say you love your artist, Tidal pays 3 times more
than anyone else.
Anybody, like almost 3 times more. So if you say you love Wayne, Drake, Nicki, anybody else, any of your artists, any artist who you're a big fan of, like Slipknot, whatever, you know, vibes. You have to go with the platform that's going to pay your artist the most, because the thing is, what people won't do is because they say they love their artist, they say they support it. I'm a big fan. I'll go to the concert. I'll pay all this money for the concert, but there's another stream of income that does matter, which is streaming, because they're not relying on album sales anymore. So it's like, let me make.
How do we leverage streaming to make it worthwhile?
So it's like, if you're on one end, if you're a consumer of that content and that music that makes you feel some way, then you should definitely opt for the Tidal thing. Definitely. Then I'm not with Tidal personally right now.
He told you to buy Tidal, but he ain't got no Tidal.
But it's
spoken like a true dinner with Jay-Z here.
I will get Tidal eventually.
He still gave us Tiger.
Oh please, don't.
You know what
Tiger's hard.
Where?
Tiger is lit.
Yeah.
Stick out your tongue, girls wanna have fun.
Okay, it sounds hard because you're singing it.
It's good. Alexa,
He's just like,
play Girls Wanna Have Fun by Tiger. Is that what it's called?
yeah.
See, not even Alexa wants it.
No, I think there's no space for Tiger in that respect. And when you got Drake at the top, Nicki there, those two don't hit with the club ones. They might have club tracks, but they're not a club artist.
Truffle Butter, they did well on this
Yeah, but I'm saying,
but Tiger's got 100 of those.
Yeah, exactly.
Tiger's got 100 of those.
Like Tiger's like
Drake and Nicki, they've got what?
They're
I know, like they got Truffle Butter is like a good one. Drake's got he never does it anymore. Maybe she won't, but then again, maybe she will. That one.
Started from the bottom.
So he's got to start from the bottom. I feel like Drake tried to become a club artist, and we were like, Drake, we're listening to you at home.
So like,
we're listening to you at home when we're sad. We're not like I remember. Let me not. I don't dissing Drake.
And what's the other one? I just flick a switch.
I just put the Twitch. And it's out like a light.
Yeah,
and when he linked up with
one.
Future, he did a good.
Yeah, like
because that makes sense. Because Future.
Yeah, so it's like with Wayne, like Tiger has to fit like the club banger, like the Juvenile. Is it Juvenile? Juvenile. The Juvenile of like this 21st century, because it's like.
Not the Juvenile.
Yeah, because he Juvenile used to make those kind of like strip up like.
Cause you better get your man there, and then niggas in his cats it's last year. Sorry, I don't even know what's wrong with me.
So it's like that. So Tiger's definitely that kind of pop. Like.
Back to it now. Let's reel it in. Tell a friend to tell a friend. So essentially, we basically wrapped up all of our topics for today. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of Clout is Not Currency podcast. I hope that this episode has inspired you to think differently about value, worth, and influence, and empowered you in some way. If you enjoyed this episode, then please make sure to follow the podcast on your favorite streaming platform and leave us a review. I'm your host, Blessing Makosha. Thank you very much to Nicole, Andre, and Molly for stepping in studio with me for this episode. And I will see you guys for the next episode of Clout is Not Currency.